One of my favorite things to do is to fit social emotional learning into the cracks of our already busy lesson plans, into what we are already doing. I remember sitting in a meeting and my principal was up front and he was listing off all the minutes we were required by the state to teach. So this many minutes for language arts, this many minutes for math, this many minutes for science. I needed this many minutes for my ELL learners. I had this many minutes. I had to do social studies. They had to be at PE or recess. And then of course we had lunch and I had the start time and I had the end time, and I added it all up just for fun. And the minutes that we were required to teach was more minutes than we had in our day. I might have had a nervous breakdown that day. I'm like, I don't know what you want from me. And then I figured it out. We can double dip. We can cross over certain things. And this is what I mean. When we're reading in science, when our students are reading a book, that's language arts and science at the same time. Okay? When they are doing language arts and we're getting that gross motor in and we can do something and they're making the A's and the B's with their letters and we're doing alphabet yoga, physical education, and language arts, we can double dip. And so I'm going to show you how you can do that with social emotional learning. Because as we're reading books, English language arts, as we're teaching them this vocabulary, that is just regular vocabulary. That's English language arts standards time. When we are writing and journaling and expository writing and writing a friendly letter and writing a business letter, all those, if we're writing it with the kindness theme in mind, it's the social emotional learning and their writing standards. If they are doing any sort of conversational stuff, if we're doing role playing, if we're doing discussion starters, if anything along those lines, it's listening and speaking skills. That is part of their language arts standards. If we're doing any sort of other hands-on activities and we can connect it into physical education or math or science and SEL at the exact same time, social studies, it's amazing because it's the same thing. It's that same amount of time. We're teaching them 2 subject skills, 2 amazing things in the same amount of time. Okay, so here, let me give you some examples. So vocabulary, we have our vocabulary list with words, kindness versus nice, bullying, volunteer, being thoughtful, being considerate, having compassion. All of these words, we have the definitions for them. We have activities for them. As they're building that, they're learning vocabulary. They can put them into sentences. They can fill it. They can make sure that they're understanding these words. It's language arts, but it's also social emotional learning. You can create anchor charts. What do we know about kindness? What do we know about bullying? What do we know about being a helper? What do we know about being friendly? All of those things. And as you're building this, you're talking about it, language arts skills and social emotional learning. You can do this for everything. You can do it for compassion and kindness, all those monthly things, all those monthly themes that I gave you in the last video. You can just fit them into your already busy day. If you're doing vocabulary, do social emotional learning vocabulary, being considerate, being a bully, all of those are in. Many teachers do daily writing, right? The morning message, maybe you have a little bit of writing, journal something, or you're having set, they're doing narrative writing, or tell me what you did this weekend, or just write a quick sentence, whatever it is, you can put in a kindness theme, a social emotional learning theme. So what is, and then whatever word you're working on, what is compassion? What is being a good friend? Tell me what it's like to be kind. What does kind mean? And now they're writing and they're practicing their capitals and their letters and their finger spacing and their sight word spelling and all the mechanics of writing and social emotional learning. So how can I be a friend? How can I be kind? How can I be thoughtful? You can fit these in, and every day they're writing. That's writing time, but you're sneaking into the cracks the social emotional component. How does it feel to be kind, compassionate, mean? How does it feel to be helpful? How does it feel to be friendly? How does it feel to be an includer? All of those concepts that we've been working on. And they can write letters to soldiers or to veterans. They can write thank you notes when guests come or when they go on field trips. We can create all of these creative writing prompts. I even have practicing letter printing, like very basic pre-K and early kindergarten letter formation with kindness affirmations. So they're practicing their letters, but at the same time, social emotional learning. So that's how we can double dip with the standards. 2 birds, 1 stone. If they are having those conversations and you're doing the conversation starters or the Skittles or the questions of the day, I have 180 questions of the day. So it's a different kindness question. You can use it in your morning meeting for that listening and speaking skill. But as they're having conversations, they're turn taking, they're waiting, they're listening, they're responding, they're raising their hand, all amazing skills that you need in your classroom. And then of course, as they're reading, you can read book about anything, right? So anything you're learning about, you can read about. As we know as teachers, we use this all the time, but we can bring in those kindness books. So I had the stack of kindness books and books about celebrating our differences and being an anti-bully, how to stand up for someone else, and how to be a good friend. We also know we can use the stories that we're already using in our language arts curriculum or in our social studies curriculum or our English language learners curriculum and use the characters to help guide these conversations. Were they a good friend? Is this how we speak to our friends? Is this what a good friend looks like? Would you want to be their friend? I also have emergent readers and early readers for our more advanced readers. Kindness books, 18 different topics explaining how to specifically, I am kind in the cafeteria. What does that look like? I am kind on the playground. What does that look like? I am a helper. What does that look like? So you can weave those into those monthly lessons, or as you're sitting around and you're just needing extra sight word practice, or you're needing tracking practice, reading books, becoming more fluent, use kindness books, because it's, again, 2 birds, 1 stone. So that's how you can kind of fit it into the cracks of your already overspent minutes of your lesson plans. All right, in the next video, I'm going to share with you the activities and fun things that you can connect to gross motor skills and physical education and gamify it and make it fun so that our students want to do this more often and they can fit it in rainy day activities, or when you have those few extra minutes, these are the fun things to do. I'm going to share those in the next video.